What if the only thing standing between you and greatness is your ability to stay consistent? This audiobook reveals the hidden habits of the world's top performers and how they use discipline to dominate, even without motivation. Learn how to rewire your mindset, build unstoppable routines, and create results that last. You don't need more talent. You need a system. The formula is simple. The execution is rare. This is your blueprint. It's time to level up. Chapter 1: The Discipline Mindset. Rewiring your thinking for consistency. Let's get one thing straight. Discipline isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. Before it shows up in your calendar, your habits, your morning alarm, it starts in your head. And until your mindset shifts, every routine you try to build will fall apart under pressure. We've been fed the wrong message for years. That discipline is about forcing yourself to do something you hate, day after day, like some kind of punishment. Or that it's reserved for people with military backgrounds, Olympic-level genetics, or robotic emotions. That's garbage. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a lifestyle upgrade. It's freedom. And to build it, you need more than tips and tricks. You need a mindset that doesn't rely on how you feel. You need a system that works when motivation doesn't. You need to stop chasing results and start building identity. This chapter is about creating that shift. Discipline is a mindset, not just a routine. Let's say you want to get fit, or write a book, or build a business. Most people go straight to the routine, the gym schedule, the word count, the hustle checklist. But here's what separates high performers from everyone else. They don't start with routines. They start with mindset. They know that if your thinking is weak, your habits won't last, because life will punch you in the face. And if your only strategy is try harder, you'll fold. But if your mindset is built on discipline, you'll adjust and keep going. Discipline is the belief that what you do daily matters more than what you do occasionally. It's choosing to act based on your standards, not your feelings. It's realizing that consistency compounds, even if progress feels invisible. And most of all, it's understanding that discipline is a skill, not a gift. A skill. That means it can be trained, strengthened, and sharpened. Your job is to stop thinking of discipline as something you have or don't have, and start seeing it as something you practice every day, like brushing your teeth, like tying your shoes, like showing up. The lie of motivation and the truth of systems. Let's bust one of the most toxic myths out there. I just need to feel more motivated. No, you don't. Motivation is unreliable. It's emotional. It fades. It's the spark, not the fuel. And if you're depending on that spark to get up early, to go to the gym, to write the book, to stay focused, good luck. That's like building a house on sand. The truth is, motivation is great when it shows up, but the real pros don't count on it. They build systems. Systems that don't require inspiration. Systems that work on autopilot. If motivation is emotion, systems are structure. Let's break it down. Motivation asks, do I feel like it today? Discipline answers, I do it anyway. Systems ensure it happens even on bad days. A system could be as simple as scheduling your workout at the same time daily, writing 500 words before checking email, setting phone limits so your environment works for you, having a nightly shutdown routine that resets your mind. Top performers are not super motivated. They just built systems that remove friction. They reduced the number of choices they need to make. They planned for bad days, low energy, and setbacks, and created a way to keep moving regardless. Want more discipline? Stop chasing motivation. Start building systems. Shift from outcome goals to identity goals. Let me guess, you've set a goal like this before. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to make 6 figures. I want to write a book. I want to be more productive. That's an outcome goal. And outcome goals aren't bad, but they're weak if they're not backed by something deeper. Because what happens when you don't hit the number right away? When you miss a week? When the scale doesn't move, you quit. Because your identity hasn't changed. You're still thinking like the old you trying to reach a new place. Now flip it. Instead of, I want to lose weight, say, I'm the kind of person who never misses a workout. Instead of, I want to write a book, say, I'm a writer. I write every day no matter what. Instead of, I want to make more money, say, I'm a disciplined entrepreneur who moves the needle daily. This is called identity-based habit formation. You're not just chasing a result, you're becoming someone new. Someone who does the thing by default, not by effort alone. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows. You don't have to white-knuckle your way through tasks. You do them because they're what you do, because they're who you are. This is the key to long-term consistency. Your identity drives your standards shape your actions build your life. I'm the kind of person who, the power of identity, let's go deeper. The next time you're facing resistance, when you're tempted to skip the habit or cut the corner, don't ask, what should I do? Ask this, what would the disciplined version of me do right now? Then say this phrase out loud or in your mind, I'm the kind of person who and fill in the blank. Shows up when it's hard. Finishes what I start. Doesn't break promises to myself. Keeps my word even when no one's watching. Makes decisions based on standards, not emotions. Repeat that enough times, and it becomes true. Because identity isn't just discovered, it's decided. It's practiced, reinforced, lived. You don't wait to feel like that person. You act like that person until you become them. Dealing with resistance and excuses. Let's be honest. Discipline sounds great in theory, but in the real world, you're tired, distracted, overwhelmed, stressed. And when life hits hard, discipline is often the first thing to go. So how do you stay consistent in the face of all that? Here's how. Expect resistance. Don't be shocked when your brain wants the easy way out. That's not failure, that's biology. Expect it and build around it. Lower the bar, but not the standard. If you can't do a full workout, do 10 push-ups. If you can't write a chapter, write 1 paragraph. Discipline isn't about doing it perfectly, it's about doing it regardless. Use friction wisely, make bad habits harder. Delete the app. Move the junk food, block the sites, then make good habits easier. Lay out your gym clothes, prep meals, use timers. Talk back to excuses. Your brain will lie to you. Just 1 day off. You deserve a break. You're not feeling it. Call it out. Respond like a pro. I don't negotiate with excuses. Track your consistency, not your results. Measure streaks. Celebrate show-ups. Focus on doing the work, not judging the outcome. Results come when repetition becomes non-negotiable. Final thoughts. Discipline starts in the mind. If you get one thing from this chapter, let it be this. You don't need to feel ready to act disciplined. You need to act disciplined to feel ready. It starts in your mind, with what you believe about yourself, with what you're willing to tolerate, with the identity you're building through your daily choices. Discipline is not something you try. It's something you decide. Decide to show up. Decide to follow through. Decide to become the kind of person who keeps their word. To themselves first. The rest will follow. Chapter 2. The Power of Daily Wins. Build momentum. Like the elite, momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When you have it, everything feels possible. Work flows. Confidence rises. Discipline sticks. You feel undeniable. But when you lose momentum, even the smallest task can feel like climbing a mountain. Here's the truth most people miss. Momentum doesn't come from big achievements. It comes from small, consistent wins. You don't need a perfect week. You don't need a 10-hour workday. You don't need to feel amazing every morning. What you do need is this. One win, then another, then another. Because success, real, sustainable. Success isn't built in sprints, it's built in rhythms. And the most disciplined people in the world understand this. Athletes, CEOs, artists, soldiers. They know that the daily structure they create is what keeps the fire burning. This chapter is your blueprint for creating that rhythm, your system for building unstoppable momentum, one day at a time. The power of small wins. Let's start here. Why do small wins matter so much? Because your brain records your behavior. Every win, no matter how small, signals to your identity. I'm the kind of person who follows through. I keep promises to myself. I don't need motivation. I take action. Small wins build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Think about it. You don't trust people who always talk and never deliver. So why should your brain trust you if you keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," and never follow through? Now flip that. Every small win, no matter how unimpressive it looks to others, is a vote for your future self. You hit your wake-up time, 2 hours win. You hydrate first thing in the morning, 2 hours win. You write your 500 words, 2 hours win. You plan your day before checking your phone, 2 hours win. These tiny victories are your fuel. Not in theory, in chemistry. Momentum triggers dopamine. Dopamine creates desire. Desire reinforces discipline. It's a cycle, and you control the start. The 24-hour discipline cycle. Plan, execute, review. High performers don't just drift through the day, they run a cycle. Every 24 hours, they wake up knowing what matters. They execute with intensity and clarity. They reflect, learn, and reset. That's your new operating system. Plan, execute, review, repeat. Let's break it down. Plan, the night before or morning of. Discipline starts with clarity. Don't leave your priorities up to chance. Decide before the chaos begins. Here's a simple planning method top performers use. Top 3 priorities. What must get done today? Not should, not might, but must. Time blocks. Assign times for deep work, breaks, shallow work. Discipline. Loves structure. Triggers. Identify distractions or obstacles in advance. Plan your response. One win goal. Pick one thing that, if completed, will make today a win, no matter what. This entire planning phase takes 5 to 10 minutes, but it saves hours of wasted time, energy, and indecision. Execute. Honor the block. Now comes the part. Most people overcomplicate. Just do the work. Execution is simple but not easy. This is where your systems shine or fall apart. Here's how to improve execution. Start ugly. Don't wait for the perfect time or feeling. Action creates clarity. Eliminate before you optimize. Cut out the distractions before trying to be more productive. One focus at a time. Multitasking kills momentum. Deep work builds it. Honor your calendar. If it's scheduled, treat it like a commitment to your future self. Think of your execution window like a contract. Don't negotiate. Just show up and deliver. Review, the missing link. Most people skip this, and it's a huge mistake. End your day with reflection. Ask yourself, what was my biggest win today? What pulled me off track? What can I improve tomorrow? Did I follow through on my identity? This 5-minute practice builds self-awareness, and that's what allows you to adjust, not just repeat mistakes. This review is where performance becomes intentional. You stop reacting and start refining. Plan. Execute. Review every 24 hours, every single day. Morning and evening rituals. That compound. Now let's talk about 2 anchor points. Every high performer protects with intensity. Mornings and evenings. These are your bookends. And if you win the bookends, the middle gets easier. Morning. Rituals. The purpose of a morning ritual isn't productivity. It's priming. You're training your brain. This is who I am. This is what I do. Here's a proven morning ritual sequence used by elite performers. Wake up on time. No snooze. You win the day by winning the first battle. Hydrate plus move. Water and light movement signal the body to energize. silence or mindfulness. Meditate, breathe, or just sit in quiet. Command your mind. Visualize the day. See yourself executing your top 3. Practice victory mentally. Plan or review your priorities. Set your aim with clarity and precision. Even 15 minutes of intentional action beats 2 hours of scattered distraction. Evening rituals. Evenings aren't just about rest, they're about resetting the system. Here's what high performers often include: digital sunset. Shut off screens 30-60 minutes before bed. Your brain needs peace. Gratitude or reflection. Acknowledge wins and lessons. This builds resilience. Set tomorrow's plan. Avoid decision fatigue in the morning. Decide tonight. Wind down. Light reading, stretching, or journaling. Signal the body to relax. Evening rituals aren't glamorous, but they're gold. Discipline isn't just how you start, it's how you end. Why perfectionism kills progress. Now, let's talk about the silent killer of momentum, perfectionism. Perfectionism masquerades as high standards, but it's really fear in disguise. Fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough, fear of starting and failing. Perfectionism will tell you, don't bother if it's not perfect. Discipline says, show up anyway, improve along the way. Progress loves imperfect action. Momentum feeds on movement, not mastery. You don't need a perfect day. You need wins, real ones, small ones, repeated ones. Remember this: one imperfect day executed with discipline is worth more than 10 perfect days you never start. Templates for daily structure. Now let's give you a few plug-and-play frameworks you can experiment with. These aren't strict rules, they're springboards. The 3x3 structure, 3 priorities. What truly matters today, not just urgent, important. 3 time blocks: morning, midday, evening. Assign your focus zone. 3 wins, review in the evening. What did I do well? What can I build on? The bookend blueprint. Morning, wake, hydrate. Plus, move, plan the day. Focus session, evening. Reflect, plan tomorrow. Digital sunset. This keeps your energy and intention aligned. The hour power. Hour 20-min movement. 20-min mindset. Meditate, journal, affirm. 20-min mission. Top priority task. Just 60 minutes of focus can create weeks of momentum. Final thoughts. The day is the unit. If you want to change your life, don't start with a year, start with a day. This day, because here's the truth, you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. You don't get discipline once. You generate it daily. You don't need motivation. You need momentum. And momentum lives in your structure. So here's the challenge. Build today like it matters. Because it does. Tomorrow is built on today's habits. Next year is built on this morning's choices. And the life you want, it's built one small win at a time. Chapter 3: Ruthless Prioritization. Focus is a superpower. Let's begin with a brutal truth. You don't lack time, you lack focus. Let that settle in. We all get 24 hours. No one's hiding a secret stash of bonus hours in their schedule. So why is it that some people seem to accomplish 10x more with the same clock ticking? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's this. They've mastered ruthless prioritization. They know what matters. They protect it. They cut the rest. And they understand that focus, real, undistracted focus, is the most valuable currency of performance in the modern world. In this chapter, we're going to crush the myth of multitasking, learn how the world's top performers prioritize their energy and time, and walk through practical systems like the Eisenhower Matrix and weekly reviews to help you reclaim your focus like a pro. The multitasking lie. Let's set the record straight. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain can't focus on 2 complex tasks at once. What it's actually doing is task switching, rapidly bouncing from one thing to another. And every switch comes with a cost. A big one. You lose time reorienting. You make more mistakes. You reduce deep thinking. And worst of all, you train your brain to never fully engage. Multitasking gives the illusion of productivity, but steals your performance in the long run. Want proof? Studies show that chronic multitaskers perform worse on tasks that require focus, even when they're not multitasking. Their attention is fragmented. Their thinking becomes shallow. Their ability to enter deep work states, gone. So here's your new mantra. Do fewer things. Do them better. Focus on fewer things to achieve more top performers. Live by this rule. If everything is important, nothing is. They don't try to do it all. They don't chase every shiny object. They filter relentlessly. Let's look at some real-world examples. Warren Buffett, he once told his pilot, list your top 25 goals. Now circle the top 5. Everything else? Avoid at all costs. That's your distraction list. Steve Jobs' Apple's genius wasn't just innovation, it was focus. Jobs famously killed hundreds of product ideas to focus on just a handful. His motto, deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. Jocko Willink, retired Navy SEAL commander. In the chaos of combat, Jocko emphasized clear priorities. Cover, move, communicate, prioritize, and execute. That's how SEALs stay alive. The same principle applies to your life. You can either try to do everything and burn out, or you can prioritize and dominate what matters. The Eisenhower Matrix in action. Now let's talk tools. One of the most effective frameworks for prioritization is called the Eisenhower Matrix, based on former U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower. It helps you decide what to work on and what to eliminate. Here's how it works. You sort tasks into 4 boxes. Box 1, urgent, plus important, do now box. 2, not urgent, plus important, schedule box. 3, urgent, plus not important, delegate box. 4, not urgent, plus not important, eliminate. Let's break it down. Box 1, do now. These are critical tasks, deadline-driven, crisis level. Things that, if ignored, will blow up. Examples: client emergency, time-sensitive projects, health issues. Box 2, schedule it. These are the gold of high performance. They aren't screaming for attention, but they move your life forward. Examples: long-term planning, skill building, relationship building, workouts, strategic thinking. This is where elite performers live. Box 2 is where your discipline shines. Box 3, delegate it. These tasks are urgent but not high value. Someone else can and should do them. Examples: routine emails, scheduling, repetitive admin work. If you want to scale, you must delegate. Box 4, delete it. These are distractions in disguise. They feel productive but steal your time and attention. Examples: scrolling social media, pointless meetings, just checking emails, binge watching. Cut these ruthlessly. Guard your energy like your life depends on it, because your future does. Say no, like a pro. Let's talk about the skill that might change your life more than any other, the ability to say no. Top performers don't just manage time, they defend it. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something crucial. Here's the truth. You won't have time to work out if you say yes to everything. You won't have time to write that book if you accept every meeting. You won't have time to reflect if you're always reacting. Saying no is how you protect what matters, but let's be real. It's not easy. So here are some scripts to help you. Thanks for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. That doesn't align with my current priorities. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. Gives you space to decide. No, but here's who might help. Redirect politely. Remember, you're not rejecting the person. You're protecting your mission. Daily, weekly, and quarterly review templates. Now let's make this actionable. Top performers don't just set goals. They review and refine them constantly. Here are simple review frameworks to stay aligned with what matters most. Daily review, 5 minutes. Do this at the end of each day. What did I accomplish today? What distracted me or pulled me off course? What's my single most important task tomorrow? This helps you course correct daily instead of drifting. Weekly review, 20-30 minutes. Pick a consistent time, Sunday evening or Monday morning. Ask, what were my top 3 wins last week? What drained my energy or wasted time? What's one thing I need to eliminate? What are my top 3 priorities for the coming week? Review your calendar. Block time for what matters. Say no to the rest. Quarterly review, 60-90 minutes. This is your zoom out session. Once every 90 days, reflect. What goals did I make progress on? What goals am I avoiding or resisting? What habits are working? Where am I misaligned? What's the one thing I must execute next quarter? Refine, reset, recommit. The best in the world do this, not once, but every cycle, because consistency, not intensity, creates mastery. Final thoughts. Focus is a weapon. Let's land the plane with this. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions and sharper priorities. Focus isn't something you find. It's something you fight for. You won't always be in control of what comes your way, but you're 100% in control of what you give your attention to. So here's your challenge. Audit your life for distraction. Cut what doesn't matter. Go all in on what does. Focus is the superpower of this century, and you now have the blueprint to wield it. Chapter 4: Energy Management. Discipline demands. Fuel. Let's flip the script for a second. We've talked about discipline as if it's all about willpower, as if it's sheer force of effort. But here's the truth that elite performers know. Discipline isn't just about time management. It's about energy management. Think about it. You can block 3 hours on your calendar to write, train, plan, or lead. But if you're exhausted, stressed, underfueled, and mentally fried, what do you think actually gets done? Nothing meaningful. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't be sharp when your body is foggy. You can't be consistent if your energy is chaotic. So in this chapter, we're going to talk about the fuel of discipline. We'll explore why energy is your most limited and precious resource, the physical habits that top performers swear by, why recovery is not a luxury, it's a strategy, the mental routines that sharpen your focus, and how to build an environment that recharges, not drains you, because when you manage your energy, you multiply your output. Time doesn't drive performance. Energy does. Let's start here. We all chase time. We want more hours, more blocks in our calendar, more productivity hacks. But what we really want is the power to do great work consistently. And that power doesn't come from the clock. It comes from your energy levels. Ask yourself this. Have you ever had an entire day open and still accomplished nothing? Have you ever crushed 3 major tasks in just 90 minutes of clear-headed focus? That's the power of energy. And that's why the best don't just manage their schedule. They manage their state. They manage their body, their mind, their environment. Because if you can master your energy, you can master your results. Physical fuel, sleep, movement, and nutrition. Let's talk about the engine that drives it all, your body. Top performers treat their body like a performance machine. Not because they want to look good on Instagram, but because they know that physical energy is the foundation for mental power, emotional resilience, and creative flow. Here are the 3 pillars. Sleep. The untouchable priority. You can't be elite if you're running on fumes. Research is crystal clear. Sleep affects decision-making, memory, emotional regulation, and discipline. Just one night of poor sleep can reduce cognitive performance by 20-30%. Chronic sleep deprivation makes it harder to resist impulses and form habits. Here's what high performers do. Protect 7 to 9 hours like their life depends on it. Wind. Down early. Blue light off. No scrolling. No email drama before bed. Create a sleep trigger. Same routine, Same time, every night. Make the bedroom a temple. Dark, cool, quiet, no tech. Sleep isn't lazy. It's elite, too. Movement. The energy generator. You don't need to be a Navy SEAL to move like a pro. You just need to understand one thing. Motion drives emotion. Top performers don't just work out to stay fit. They do it to think clearer, feel stronger, and show up sharper. Here's what works. 30-60 minutes of intentional movement daily. Walks, strength training, yoga, sprints. Doesn't matter. Just move. Short movement breaks every 60-90 minutes. A few squats, stretches, or even standing up for 2 minutes. Morning workouts. They flip the brain switch. You start the day with a win. Movement is medicine, and it makes discipline easier because you're not dragging your body around all day. Nutrition. Eat for performance. Not just pleasure food isn't just fuel, it's focus. Elite performers don't crash after lunch because they're not eating garbage. Here are simple principles to follow. Eat real food. If it's packaged with 27 ingredients, skip it. Prioritize protein. Helps with satiety, strength, and stable energy. Balance your meals: protein, fiber, fat, complex carbs. Think. Steady energy, not sugar spikes. Hydrate constantly. Dehydration reduces mental clarity and physical endurance. This isn't about going keto or going vegan. It's about eating like someone who respects their mission. Rest and recovery. The secret edge now. Here's where we break the old school narrative. Grinding 24/7 isn't discipline. It's delusion. Real pros recover hard because they know that downtime isn't laziness, it's leverage. Think about elite athletes. They don't train hard every day. They cycle intensity. They schedule rest. They recover on purpose. Why? Because growth happens during recovery. Here's how you can do it too. Active rest days, walks, light stretching, time in nature. Full unplug hours, no screens, no stimulation, just rest. Micro recovery, deep breaths between meetings, 10-minute meditations or power naps. Sleep hygiene. Yep, we're saying it again. Sleep is the #1 recovery tool. The mindset shift is this. Recovery is part of the work. Your job isn't just to push. It's to protect the machine that makes it all possible. Mental fuel, reading, learning, and reflection. Now let's fuel the mind. Mental energy is just as real as physical energy and just as fragile. And top performers keep their minds sharp through 3 key practices. Reading isn't entertainment. It's a weapon. Whether it's biographies, business books, or philosophy, reading expands your thinking, deepens your focus, and arms you with new ideas. Make reading part of your weekly rhythm. Even 10-20 minutes a day compounds. Learning growth doesn't end after school. Top performers are lifelong learners. They take online courses. They attend workshops. They ask questions. They stay curious, and that curiosity keeps their mind fresh. If you're not learning, you're stagnating. Reflection: you can't grow what you don't observe. Simple journaling, evening reflection, or even voice notes to yourself can clarify your thoughts, expose your habits, and sharpen your strategy. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? Where did I show up strong? Where did I slip, and why? Mental fuel isn't passive. It's intentional. Build an energizing environment. Finally, we need to talk about your environment. Because here's a secret. Your environment beats your willpower every time. If your workspace is cluttered, noisy, and full of distractions, you'll default to lazy behavior. If your fridge is full of junk, you'll eat it. If your social circle drains your energy, you'll feel heavy and uninspired. So ask yourself, does my space inspire action or delay it? Do my surroundings support my goals or sabotage them? Do I feel recharged by my environment or depleted? Small changes make a huge difference. Clean your space. Make it easy to focus. Keep healthy food visible. Hide the junk. Curate your digital environment. Notifications off, toxic feeds unfollowed. Spend more time with energy givers, not energy vampires. Energy isn't just internal, it's environmental. Final thoughts. Fuel. First, then fire. Let's close this with a powerful reminder. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your energy. If you want to be disciplined, if you want to execute consistently, if you want to reach elite levels, then fuel has to come first. So here's your challenge. Sleep like a professional. Move like your life depends on it, because it does. Eat like a machine with a mission. Rest like it's sacred. Learn and reflect daily. Build a world around you that makes high performance inevitable. Because the truth is simple. Discipline demands fuel. And you now know how to fill the tank. Chapter 5. Delay gratification. Mastering the long game. Let's start with a question. What separates the truly great from the merely good? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even hard work. It's the ability to delay gratification. To hold off the sugar rush win for the real reward down the line. To play the long game when everyone else is chasing the shortcut. Discipline isn't just about showing up every day. It's about resisting the easy path and investing in the right one over and over again. Top performers understand this at their core. They're not in it for today. They're not seduced by dopamine hits, viral attention, or the quick fix. They're in it for the decade, not the day. In this chapter, we're going to explore what it really means to delay gratification. Why this? One skill shapes every high performer's path. How modern psychology reframes the famous marshmallow test, what it means to build patience through micro-sacrifices. Practical habits that train your brain to wait, and how to use time as a weapon in your decision-making. If you master this one principle, delayed gratification, you win. Not instantly, but inevitably. Why every top performer plays the long game. Let's set the record straight. Playing the long game doesn't mean being slow. It means being strategic. You don't trade now for never. You trade now for better later, and elite performers do this constantly. The athlete who trains in the dark for a shot at Olympic light. The entrepreneur who reinvests profits instead of splurging. The writer who publishes for 5 years before building an audience. The student who studies today so future opportunities open wide. They all understand one thing. Discipline isn't about self-denial. It's about self-respect. They're not punishing themselves by waiting. They're protecting their future from the cheap temptations of the present. And they know that anything worth building, character, legacy, mastery, takes time. The marshmallow test revisited. You've probably heard of the famous marshmallow test. A child is given one marshmallow and told, "You can eat this now or wait 15 minutes and get 2. Researchers then observed which children could wait and followed them into adulthood. The results? Those who delayed gratification were more successful in nearly every area of life. Better grades, healthier relationships, higher income, stronger emotional control. But here's what modern psychology has added since. It's not just about willpower. It's about trust. Kids who waited weren't just stronger. They believed the reward would come. They trusted the system. They believed their wait would be worth it. And that's the key. To delay gratification, you must believe in your future. You must trust that what you're building will pay off. If you see your goals as real, vivid, and worth it, you'll wait. If your future is blurry and uncertain, you'll grab what you can right now. So here's the mental shift. Make your future self visible. Journal as if your future self is already real. Visualize what life looks like, 1, 3, 10 years down the line. Write a letter from your future self back to you today. Bring the long game into focus. And the marshmallow in front of you? It gets a little easier to ignore. Micro-sacrifices. Training endurance. Daily big sacrifices are rare, but micro-sacrifices, those are the daily reps of discipline. Every day you're offered easy wins. Sleep in instead of getting up early. Check your phone instead of doing deep work, scroll instead of stretching. Buy it now instead of saving, complain instead of solving. And every one of those choices is an opportunity to train, to practice patience, to wire your brain for resistance now, reward later. Here's the mindset shift. Sacrifice isn't pain. It's progress. Every time you say no to an easy hit, you say yes to your future. Start small. Set a timer and delay checking your phone by 10 minutes. Wait 1 hour before responding to emotional messages. Add 1 extra set to your workout. Take 10 deep breaths before snacking. Delay purchases by 24 hours. Then reassess. Each of these micro-sacrifices strengthens your will. And over time, you begin to trust yourself more. You start seeing yourself as someone who waits, endures, and finishes, habits that wire your brain for long-term reward. Let's talk about how to train your brain to prefer long-term gains. Because the truth is, the brain loves dopamine, that feel-good chemical released when you get a reward. But the best part? You can redirect where your dopamine comes from. You can literally rewire your brain to get hits of pleasure not from consumption, but from creation, progress, and delayed wins. Here's how. Celebrate process, not outcome. When you reward the fail process, showing up, doing the work, staying the course, you teach your brain to enjoy the journey, not just the finish line. Say it out loud. That workout wasn't perfect, but I did it. That's a win. I wrote 500 words. That's momentum. I said no to junk food today, 1 brick laid. This rewires the brain to crave discipline, not dopamine spikes. Use temptation bundling. Pair a delayed reward with a task you're building discipline in. Example: only watch your favorite show after you've hit your writing goal. Only drink your best coffee after you finish the morning workout. Only listen to podcast while on a walk or workout. This makes the reward contingent on progress and reinforces the habit loop. Track streaks. Visually use a wall calendar, app, or journal to track your streaks. Days without sugar. Days you journaled. Days you hit your target bedtime. Seeing those streaks grow builds motivation to keep going and trains your mind to value the compound effect. Reframe waiting, as strength waiting is not weakness. It's not indecision. It's strategy. Use this mantra. If it's meant for me, it will still be there after I earn it. Later is a weapon. Using time as a filter. Here's one of the most powerful tools of delayed gratification. Time reveals value. Say it with me again. Time reveals value. If something is still a good idea in 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months, it's likely worth pursuing. If it fades in urgency, it probably wasn't essential. This applies to big purchases, major commitments, emotional responses, career moves, new ideas. When in doubt, pause. Let the emotional dust settle. Let the excitement cool. Let the real value emerge. The top 1% of performers know, no now doesn't mean never. It means not yet, until I'm ready, aligned, and clear. Use time to your advantage. Don't just react. Decide. Final thoughts. Endure now, win later. Let's bring this home. We live in a world that worships now. Quick likes, fast shipping, instant feedback. Everything screams, why wait? But here's your quiet edge. You wait, you build. You play the long game because you're not here for a sugar high. You're here for substance, for mastery, for results that compound. So here's your challenge. Say no to cheap dopamine. Delay the easy reward. Make micro-sacrifices daily. Train your brain to crave progress. Let time test your decisions and, most of all, see your future clearly. Then live today in service of it. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about choosing later over lesser, over and over again. And when you do that, you win the long game. Chapter 6. Battle-proof habits, discipline under pressure. Let's talk about pressure. Not the pressure of a deadline. Not the pressure of being busy. We're talking real pressure. Life storms, crisis mode, everything going sideways. A business fails. A loved one gets sick. A dream project crumbles. You lose motivation, momentum, and maybe even yourself. What happens to your discipline then? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Anyone can be consistent when life is calm, but only the battle-tested stay disciplined in chaos. This chapter is about those people, the soldier who still trains while deployed, the athlete who keeps rehab discipline after injury, the entrepreneur who sticks to systems during a market crash, the parent who wakes early to journal in a season of survival. We're going to break down what separates disciplined people when everything breaks, crisis routines, how to show up when life punches you in the mouth, adaptive discipline, how to bend without breaking real-world examples from high-pressure lives, the anti-fragile habit system that grows stronger under stress. If you want to be elite, you don't just build habits for peace, you build habits for war. What separates the disciplined in chaos? Most people's habits are built on ideal conditions. They meditate if it's quiet, they train if the gym is open, they journal if the morning is free, they eat clean if the schedule allows. But disciplined performers, they show up regardless. Why? Because they don't rely on perfect conditions. They build habits that survive chaos. And more than that, they're forged in it. Here's the mindset difference. Average. I'll do it when I feel good. Disciplined. I'll do it even when I feel like hell. And here's why this matters. Crisis doesn't ruin you. It reveals you. When the pressure's on, your habits become your anchor. Your rituals become your rescue. Your systems become your strength. Let's talk about how to build those systems. Crisis routines. How to show up when life hits hard. When everything's going wrong, your instinct is to drop everything non-essential, and that makes sense, temporarily. But if you abandon discipline completely, you're handing chaos the keys to your future. Instead, what top performers do is simplify, not sacrifice. They scale their routines down, not off. We call this the minimum viable discipline. Here's how it works. Example: the 3-level habit. System: build your habits in 3 levels. Level 3, optimal your full routine on a good day. Example: 1-hour workout, green meals, full journaling. Level 2, compressed busy day version. Example: 20-min body weight workout, quick protein smoothie, 5-minute reflection. Level 1, crisis mode. When the world is falling apart. Example: 10 push-ups, glass of water, 1 sentence in a journal. You don't stop. You scale. This keeps your identity intact. Even when life hits hard, you say, I'm still a disciplined person. I still show up. And that mental continuity is priceless. Because, when the storm passes, and it will, you won't be starting over. You'll be standing strong. Adaptive discipline. Adjusting. Without losing your edge, discipline isn't rigidity. It's not about doing the same thing every day no matter what. It's about honoring your core commitment, no matter the conditions. Elite performers don't confuse consistency with sameness. They know that staying on the path sometimes means changing the pace. Let's say you get injured. You switch from heavy lifting to rehab. You're emotionally drained. You swap high output for reflective work. Your routine is wrecked. You rebuild a smaller, mobile version. The goal isn't to repeat yesterday. It's to keep moving forward. Discipline bends. It doesn't break. Here's a simple rule to apply under stress. Honor the principle. Adjust the practice. We can't write 1,000 words. Write 100. Can't meal prep 7 days. Prep 2. Can't do deep work. Set a 20-minute timer and just begin. Momentum is medicine. Even the tiniest forward motion reminds you, I'm still in control. I'm still in the fight. Case studies. Discipline under fire. Let's look at real-world examples of battle-proof discipline. The Navy SEALs are trained to operate under extreme stress, lack of sleep, and unpredictable conditions. Their secret? Simplicity plus repetition. Automatic execution, they don't rely on thinking. They rely on drills. Brushing boots, checking gear, clearing mind. Every detail is trained into habitual response. Takeaway: train until you don't have to think. Just execute. The Olympic sprinter, when elite athletes get injured, they don't stop training. They shift focus. Sprinter Allison Felix once trained upper body and visualized perfect form while recovering from an ankle injury. She didn't stop showing up. She simply showed up differently. Takeaway: if you can't go forward, go sideways, but keep moving. The entrepreneur in crisis. When COVID-19 hit, many businesses collapsed. But some founders used the downtime to refine systems, rebuild culture, and retrain teams. They used the chaos as a forge. One CEO journaled daily through the crisis to sharpen clarity and came out more focused than ever. Takeaway: in pressure, return to process. Process will save you. The anti-fragile habit system. There's a concept from philosopher Nassim Taleb called anti-fragility. It describes systems that don't just survive chaos, they grow stronger from it. That's what we want for your discipline. You don't just want habits that withstand storms. You want habits that thrive in them. Here's how to build that. Design for disruption, expect your plan to break. Build routines that can survive travel, stress, or chaos. Keep a mobile version of your routine ready. Save a go-to 10-minute workout. Have 3 fast, healthy meals you can make anywhere. Pre-commit to your worst days. Decide now what you'll do on your bad days. Not in the moment, now. Example: if I only sleep 4 hours, I'll still walk for 10 minutes. If I'm too tired to write, I'll still open the doc and reread yesterday's work. This removes the decision-making strain. Rehearse recovery discipline is not just about staying on the wagon, it's about getting back on it faster. Elite performers bounce back quickly, so rehearse it. When I break my diet, I return at the next meal, not Monday. If I miss a workout, I reschedule immediately, not guilt spiral. When life hits hard, I scale down, not drop out. Track the streaks that matter. Don't just track output, track consistency. Days you showed up even at 50% days. You stuck to the crisis version days, you bounced back from a slip. This reminds you, I am not perfect, I am consistent, and that's what wins. Final thoughts. Built for the storm, here's the truth. Life will hit you. It will get messy. Your routines will break. Your focus will slip. Your motivation will disappear. But your discipline doesn't have to, because you're not building habits for sunny days. You're building them for war. So ask yourself, can I show up when I feel low? Can I act when I feel uncertain? Can I keep moving forward when nothing's ideal? Because if you can, you're dangerous, unshakable, unstoppable. You're not just disciplined, you're battle-proof. And when the storm clears, you'll be standing taller than ever. Chapter 7. Accountability and ownership. No excuses, just action. Let's make something clear from the start. Discipline without ownership is just performance. Discipline with ownership? That's unstoppable. This chapter is about the foundation of all elite-level discipline: personal responsibility, radical ownership, no excuses, just action. This is the chapter where we stop blaming, stop waiting, and stop outsourcing. This is the chapter where you take the mirror test and start leading yourself like someone worth following. Why personal responsibility is the backbone of elite discipline. Discipline doesn't begin with waking up early, journaling, or working out. It begins with a decision. No one is coming to save me. If I want results, it's on me. Top performers live by that code. They don't rely on motivation. They don't wait for permission. They don't pass the blame. They own everything, successes, failures, and the space in between. That's what sets them apart. When something goes wrong, they ask, what did I miss? What can I learn? What can I change? When they win, they still ask, what worked? How can I systematize that? No excuses, no loopholes, just complete ownership. And here's the paradox. The more you own your actions, the more powerful you become. When you drop the victim mentality, you pick up the steering wheel. That's how you take control of your life. The mirror test. Would you follow yourself? Let me ask you a question and be honest. Would you follow the person you are when no one's watching? Would you trust that person to keep promises, stay calm under pressure, follow through when it's hard, act with integrity, consistently? Because here's the thing. You are your first follower. If you don't respect your own word, if you don't follow your own rules, if you don't lead yourself with courage and clarity, why should anyone else? This is the mirror test. It's uncomfortable. It's honest. It's essential. Take a moment, pause this audiobook if you have to, and ask yourself, where have I let myself off the hook? Where have I waited for someone else to fix what's mine? What promise have I made to myself and broken, again and again? Now ask the most important question of all. What kind of person would I become if I actually kept every promise I made to myself? Sit with that, because that's the person we're building, one habit, one decision, one disciplined day at a time. Building systems of accountability, partners, public or private. Let's get practical. Ownership is internal, but accountability is how we reinforce it externally. Top performers don't rely on willpower. They build systems that trap success. Here are 3 levels of accountability you can use. Private accountability, self-contracts, and rituals. This is where it starts. Create visible, trackable commitments with yourself. A daily journal where you review, did I do what I said I would today? A calendar or habit tracker, a post-it on your mirror. Don't break the chain. Simple, private, powerful. But for most of us, this isn't enough long-term. So, we level up. 2. Partner accountability. Find your discipline. Ally, get someone in your life. Friend, coach, sibling, colleague, and create a no-fluff accountability pact. The rules. You report daily or weekly. You're honest, even when it stings. You hold each other to a higher standard, not lower. Here's a script you can use. I'm committed to doing X every day, week. If I don't, I'll check in, reflect, and course correct. I'm not looking for comfort. I want truth. Will you call me out when I slip? Choose wisely. Accountability without honesty is just friendship. Accountability with honesty? That's growth. True. Public accountability. Make a promise that costs. The best motivation is public pressure. Make a commitment that scares you. Examples. Post your goal and timeline online. Tell your team or audience what you're building. Create a financial penalty for missed habits. Apps like Beeminder or Stick do this. It's not about shame, it's about stakes. When there's something on the line, we take ourselves more seriously. That fear of letting others down can drive incredible consistency, if used with intention. But remember, don't just perform for the crowd. Perform for the you that made the promise. Make commitments that scare you. Most people make comfortable goals. I'll try to eat better. I'll maybe write more this month. I should probably wake up earlier. You want to live differently? Make a commitment that scares you a little. Something that makes your heart beat faster when you say it out loud. Why? Because fear is a signal that you're expanding, that you're moving out of the comfort zone and into the growth zone. Here are some bold commitments. I will run a marathon in 6 months, even if I have to crawl the last mile. I will wake up at 5 a.m. for 30 days straight. I will finish my book draft by date and send it to 10 people. I will go 30 days with 0 sugar, no exceptions. Choose something that stretches you. Put it on the calendar. Tell someone. Then execute. Discipline punishment. It's a form of self-respect. This might be the most misunderstood part of discipline. So let's get it clear. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. When you show up early, eat clean, train hard, stick to your word, it's not restriction. It's reverence. You're saying, I am worth the effort. My goals matter. My life deserves order, not chaos. I refuse to abandon myself. Let that sink in. Every time you choose discipline, you're choosing you. Not the comfortable version, not the easy version, the highest version, and over time those choices stack up into something powerful. A life you don't need to escape from. A schedule that reflects your values. A track record you're proud of. And most of all, a sense of inner trust. You don't just hope you'll follow through. You know you will, because you've proven it. Final thoughts. Step into ownership. Let's close with this. You can't fake ownership. You either live it or you don't. And the people who do, they walk differently. They speak with clarity. They act with conviction. Not because they're perfect, because they take full responsibility when they fall short and get better every time. So ask yourself, what area of my life needs more ownership? Where have I been blaming, waiting, or hiding? What bold commitment will I make this week to prove I'm serious? Then write it down, say it out loud, and act like the person who keeps their promises. Because when you stop making excuses and start taking full ownership, everything changes. No excuses, just action. Chapter 8. Emotional Discipline. Staying cool when it counts. Let's talk about the storm inside. The stress, the anger, the fear, the pressure. The waves of doubt that crash in at the worst possible times. Here's the truth. Discipline isn't just about action. It's about emotional control, because when your emotions run the show, your habits don't stand a chance. This chapter is about developing what the elite call emotional discipline, that rare ability to stay calm, stay focused, and stay grounded when it matters most. Whether you're walking into a tense meeting, facing a personal crisis, or just trying not to lose it with your kids at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday, this chapter is for you. Emotional regulation is a skill, not a trait. We need to break a myth right now. Emotional control is not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's a skill. It can be trained, built, sharpened, just like a muscle. Yes, some people are naturally calmer or more even-tempered, but every high-level performer you admire, whether on the field, in business, or on a battlefield, trained that control. They weren't born zen. They practiced not reacting. They built habits that made space between emotion and response. They learned to manage themselves under pressure, and so can you. Think about this. How powerful would you be if you could stay steady when others panic? How much better would your decisions be if you didn't lash out or shut down? How much more consistent would your discipline be if your emotions didn't derail your focus? This is the next level of self-mastery. The 5-second rule. Pause, process, proceed. Let's get practical. You don't need a therapist or a retreat to start regulating your emotions. You need 5 seconds. Here's the method. Pause, process, proceed. The next time you feel triggered by stress, anger, fear, shame, don't react. Don't shout. Don't text back. Don't spiral. Just stop. Take 5 slow breaths, or count to 5 in your head. This pause is everything. Why? Because emotion wants you to react. Discipline wants you to respond. That tiny gap between stimulus and response is where maturity lives. It's where power lives. So pause. Then ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is this feeling useful or harmful? What outcome do I actually want? Then, only then, proceed. Not from the emotion, but from the intention. This alone can transform your life, your relationships, your leadership, your habits. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who can pause, breathe, and choose their next move. Handling fear, anger, and stress without losing control. Let's go deeper into the big 3. Fear isn't the enemy. Avoiding it is. Top performers don't get rid of fear. They move through it, they feel it, name it, and act anyway. Try this. When you feel fear, say out loud or write in a journal, "This is fear. I don't have to obey it." Then ask, "What's the actual danger? What's the opportunity? If I act anyway?" This reframing turns fear from a wall into a doorway. Anger is energy. If you suppress it, it turns toxic. If you unleash it recklessly, it damages relationships and reputations. But if you channel it, it becomes firepower. Use anger as fuel. Let it drive focus, clarity, urgency, but never reaction. Top athletes use it. Fighters, CEOs, creators, not to destroy, but to dominate the next right move. Stress is the weight of pressure without perspective. It's often a signal you're overloaded, under-recovered, or focusing on things outside your control. The fix: zoom out, breathe, refocus on what you can control. Stress fades when you reclaim your power through action. Even the tiniest win, sending that one email, finishing the workout, shutting off notifications, can help regulate the storm. How top? Performers use emotion to fuel action. Here's the secret. Elite performers don't fight their emotions. They partner with them. They know how to feel fully without acting foolishly. They let frustration drive clarity. They let sadness deepen connection. They let anxiety spark preparation. They let excitement push bold moves. They don't deny the emotion, they direct it. Think of emotion like wind. If you ignore it, it knocks you over. If you fight it, it drains you. If you harness it, it moves you faster. That's what we're doing here. You're becoming a master of emotional momentum. Practical tools: journaling, breathing, and reframing. Let's give you a toolbox you can actually use. 1. Journaling. Name it to tame it. Write down what you feel. Simple, raw, unfiltered. Why? Because when you name the emotion, you take away its power. It becomes data, not drama. Example journal prompt. Right now I feel, Rakiu. What triggered it? What do I actually need? Even 5 minutes a day can dramatically improve your emotional clarity. 2. Breathing. Physiology. Before psychology, emotions live in the body, and nothing calms the body like breath. Use simple techniques. Box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. 4, 7, 8 breathing. Inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8. Just 5 slow deep breaths before reacting. Your breath is your anchor. Use it. 3. Reframing. Change the story. Emotion is driven by interpretation. You can change the story you tell yourself and change the feeling. Example. Instead of "I'm failing," try "I'm learning under pressure. This moment is making me stronger." Instead of "This is too hard," say "This is stretching me to grow." I've asked for this. Words matter. How you label your experience becomes how you live your experience. Final thoughts. The calm. Inside the storm, here's what I want you to remember. Emotional discipline is not about feeling less. It's about mastering more. You're not here to be robotic. You're here to be powerful. And that means learning to use your emotional energy on purpose. Pause. Process. Proceed. Breathe through the chaos. Lead yourself with clarity. Use emotions as fuel, not fire. This is the next layer of discipline. It's the kind that changes not just your habits, but your identity. You don't just do discipline. You become it, even under pressure. Chapter 9. Turning setbacks into fuel. Grit and discipline in tough times. Let's start with a truth most people never learn. Setbacks don't stop the disciplined. They shape them. You want to be elite, resilient, consistent? Then you need to stop fearing failure and start using it. Because here's the deal. Every person you admire has failed. Every top performer has been knocked down. Every master was once a mess. But what separates the great from the average isn't their wins. It's what they do after a loss. This chapter is about grit. It's about how disciplined people handle disappointment. It's about turning bad days, broken plans, and full-blown collapses into rocket fuel. You ready? Why failures? Our data, not identity. Most people confuse outcomes with identity. They fail a test, and suddenly they're not smart. They blow a workout streak, and now they're not disciplined. They get rejected and decide they're not good enough. But here's what the best understand. Failure is feedback. That's it. Nothing more. It's data. That didn't work. I underestimated that situation. I didn't prepare enough. That choice cost me. Cool. Now what? That's the mindset of the disciplined. They refuse to internalize failure. They analyze it, learn from it, and adjust. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what's the lesson? What's the upgrade? Where do I go next? This is how you build unshakable grit. The next play mentality. Move on fast. Learn faster. Ever watched an elite athlete miss a shot? They don't collapse. They don't whine. They don't overthink. They reset. Head up. Eyes forward. Next play. That's the mindset you need. Not just on the court, but in life. You missed your morning routine? Next play. You blew your diet at lunch? Next play. You skipped a workout? Got rejected? Lost money? Next play. Not in denial. Not pretending it didn't happen. You acknowledge the mistake, then pivot into action. I can't change what happened, but I can change what happens next. Discipline is staying in motion. It's refusing to let a bad moment become a bad day. A bad day become a bad week. A bad week become a lost identity. Reset. Reframe. Recommit. Next play. Resilience rituals for bouncing back. You can't prevent all setbacks, but you can build rituals to rebound stronger. Here are 4 simple bounce-back tools top performers use. The 24-hour rule. Give yourself 24 hours to feel it, to be disappointed, to grieve the loss, to be frustrated. But after that, game on. No dwelling, no dragging. Set a timer if you have to. Process the emotion, then re-engage the mission. The after-action review. Military units use this. So do elite business teams. You should too. Ask these 3 questions after every setback. What happened? Objective facts only. Why did it happen? Look for causes, not excuses. What will I do differently next time? Extract the upgrade. This turns failure into a learning lab. Every mistake becomes a mentor. The comeback commitment. Write 1 small, immediate action to reclaim your momentum. 1 clean meal, 1 deep workout, 1 email sent, 1 apology, made 1 new plan. Written momentum loves clarity. Start small, but start fast. The bounce back playlist. Sound cheesy? Try it. Music changes. Physiology. Top performers use it before games, before speeches, before big decisions. Create a playlist that lifts you. One that says, I'm still in the fight. When life hits hard, hit play and rise. Top performers who came back stronger. Let's look at some examples. Not to idolize, just to remind you, everyone falls. Greatness gets back up. Michael Jordan cut from his high school basketball team. Later said, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, failed the LSAT twice, sold fax machines door to door, built $1 billion brand because she reframed failure as fuel. Lady Gaga dropped by her first label after just 3 months. She used the rejection to redefine her sound and built a global phenomenon. Tom Brady drafted 199th, ignored, undervalued. Use that doubt as relentless motivation. Thomas Edison over 1,000 failed attempts at creating a working light bulb. He said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. The lesson? Setbacks aren't signals to stop. They're signs you're in the game. Redefining. Losing as feedback. Here's a powerful reframe. You never really lose. You either win or you learn. The only true loss is quitting. Everything else is feedback for growth. Change the story. Missed a deadline? Learn to plan better. Lost a relationship? Learn about communication or boundaries. Failed a launch? Learn where your execution or audience misaligned. Feedback isn't personal. It's useful. Start asking, what's this moment teaching me? Where did my discipline break down? What system would have prevented this? That's the real win. That's long-term grit. Final thoughts. Fall forward. You want to know the truth about disciplined people? They don't have fewer setbacks, they just respond differently. They don't spiral, they don't self-destruct. They don't let one mistake erase months of progress. They fall forward. They fail smarter. They hurt, then rebuild. And so can you. So next time you fall short, ask yourself, am I reacting or responding? Am I drowning in it or learning from it? Am I going to let this moment define me or refine me? Stand up, dust off, get back in the game. Because grit isn't about what you feel, it's about what you do next. Chapter 10. Discipline as a lifestyle, living like a top performer every day. Let's bring it home. You've made it through 9 chapters of building habits, sharpening your mindset, overcoming resistance, mastering energy, and bouncing back from setbacks. Now comes the most powerful part, making discipline your lifestyle, not a phase, not a 30-day challenge, a way of life. Because real change doesn't happen in bursts. It happens in rhythms, in quiet daily choices, in how you show up when no one's watching. In the person you become when discipline is no longer something you do. It's who you are. Let's break down what that looks like. Integrating discipline into every area of life. Here's the truth. No one tells you. Discipline isn't just for workouts or work. It's for everything. How you communicate, how you sleep, how you handle money, how you treat your body, how you treat people. Even how you think. Top performers don't turn discipline on and off. They build it into the fabric of their life. They live with intention. Their mornings aren't random. Their decisions aren't impulsive. Their goals aren't guesses. They create structure, and then they live inside that structure, with freedom. And, yes, you can still be creative, spontaneous, relaxed. Discipline doesn't kill joy. It creates space for it. When you've done the work, you get to enjoy the peace. Because nothing feels better than knowing you've earned your confidence. Why? Consistency beats intensity. Intensity gets the applause. Consistency gets the results. It's easy to sprint. It's harder to show up every day even when no one claps. But that's what separates amateurs from professionals. Consistency compounds. The writer who writes 500 words a day will finish the book. The athlete who trains 1 hour a day will stay game ready. The leader who reflects every week will grow smarter and sharper. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's unstoppable. So ask yourself, what can I commit to every day, not once in a while? What would happen if I kept showing up no matter how I felt? What would my life look like 12 months from now if I just refused to quit? Discipline isn't about massive effort. It's about repeated effort. Small hinges swing big doors. Keep swinging. Building your personal operating manual. Every top performer has something the average person doesn't. An operating manual. Not necessarily a literal book, but a set of systems, boundaries, and habits that guide how they live. You can build your own to ask yourself, 1. What are my non-negotiables? Sleep by 10 p.m.? No phone in bed? Workout 5x a week? Journal each morning? Weekly check-ins with a mentor? Write them down. Live by them. 2. What is my weekly rhythm? Create a template that includes work focus blocks, family time planning, and review recovery time. Learning time. Life doesn't need to be chaotic. Build structure, and you'll gain freedom. 3. What are my red flags? Know your danger zones. Skipping workouts? Eating poorly 3 days in a row? Sleeping less than 6 hours? Snapping at people? These are early signs you're slipping. Don't ignore them. Design your reset ritual now so you know how to bounce back. 4. What are my identity anchors? Create statements that define the kind of person you are. I'm the kind of person who doesn't break promises to myself. I lead with calm, not chaos. I train, even when I'm tired. I protect my energy like my life depends on it. Repeat these often. They'll become your guideposts. Habits of elite professionals versus amateurs. Let's break it down. The amateur waits for motivation. The professional builds a system. The amateur hopes to stay on track. The professional expects to drift and has a plan to return. The amateur treats discipline like a diet. The professional treats it like oxygen. So if you want to live like the elite, you need to think like one. Remove emotion from execution. Master boring before chasing exciting. Protect your standards, even when life gets messy. Remember, discipline isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like doing the right thing when it's the last thing you want to do, and it's always worth it. The joy of self-mastery and sustainable success. Let's talk about joy, not the sugar rush kind, not the weekend escape kind, but the deep, lasting kind that comes from knowing who you are. That's the joy of discipline. Waking up clear, going to bed proud, living in alignment with your values, not being tossed around by emotions, cravings, or chaos. Self-mastery isn't about being a robot. It's about being free. Free from guilt, free from the roller coaster, free from regret. That's what happens when discipline becomes your lifestyle, not a burden, a gift. Final notes. The mission, moving forward. So where do you go from here? You build. Not perfectly, not dramatically, but daily. You take what you've learned and put it into motion. Set your identity, simplify your structure, stack your habits. Refuse to negotiate your values, and when it gets hard, because it will, you remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So, build systems that serve the person you're becoming. One last thought. Who would you be if you kept every promise to yourself? That's the version of you waiting on the other side of discipline. And now, it's time to go meet them. Conclusion: becoming the person who follows through. Let's take a breath. You've come a long way. 10 chapters, thousands of words, countless ideas, tools, and insights. But at the end of it all, this audiobook isn't really about productivity, or fitness, or work ethic. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who follows through. Not sometimes, not when it's easy, but always. That's who top performers are. People who do what they said they'd do, long after. The feeling they said it in has faded, so let's bring it all together. Recap of core principles. You've learned a powerful set of truths. Discipline is a mindset, not a mood. Motivation is fleeting, but systems last. Identity-based habits beat outcome-based goals. Small wins, done daily, create unstoppable momentum. Focus is a superpower, and saying no is part of the work. Energy is fuel. Protect it with sleep, food, rest, and environment. Delayed gratification is how you play the long game. Battle-proof routines keep you grounded when life gets messy. Accountability and ownership remove excuses. Emotional discipline helps you stay cool under pressure. Setbacks are feedback, not failures. And most of all, consistency beats intensity. Each chapter was a tool. Each lesson, a brick. And what you've been building all along is you. The transformation promise. Here's what I know to be true. When you live with discipline, you become someone you trust. You start to feel it in your bones. I show up. I follow through. I keep promises to myself. And that kind of self-respect? It's not hype. It's not ego. It's earned. It changes how you walk into rooms, how you talk to people, how you handle setbacks, how you lead others and yourself. You become quietly powerful, not because you talk louder, but because you live better. That's the promise of discipline. Not just more results, more respect from others, and most importantly, from yourself. Call to action. Start today. Not someday. You don't need more information. You need a decision. So here's your challenge. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the mood. Don't wait for the calendar to flip. Start now. Messy, imperfect, unready. But start. Pick one habit, one system, one decision. Track it for 30 days. Commit out loud if you need to. Write it down. Put it on your wall. Tell a friend. But whatever you do, don't drift. Someday is where dreams go to die. Today is where results are born. You have what you need. You are ready. The only question left is, will you do it? A final story to inspire. Let me tell you about a man named David. Not famous, not flashy. Just a guy who once weighed 320 pounds, smoked a pack a day, worked a job he hated, felt like a ghost in his own life. One day, he looked in the mirror and said, I don't even recognize myself. So he made a decision, not to run a marathon, not to become a Navy SEAL, not to become a millionaire. He simply said, I'm going to keep one promise a day. For him, it started with walking 10 minutes, then reading one page, then drinking one less soda. Small wins, every day. Fast forward 2 years. He's 120 pounds lighter. He doesn't smoke. He leads a team at work. He speaks at schools. But more importantly, he trusts himself again, because discipline gave him something no shortcut ever could. Dignity. Remember, discipline isn't punishment. It's freedom. Let's kill this lie once and for all. Discipline is rigid. It's hard. It's punishment. Wrong. The real punishment? Living with regret, feeling out of control, chasing motivation that never shows up, always starting over, not recognizing the person in the mirror. Discipline isn't a cage. It's the key. It's how you reclaim your life, your power, your peace. Discipline is freedom. Freedom to feel proud. Freedom to sleep easy. Freedom to show up strong. Freedom to lead your life, not just survive it.